The Brave Musketeers, A Tale of Adventure and Friendship. Chapter 1. A new adventure begins. Once upon a time, in the beautiful city of Paris, a young man named D'Artagnan arrived with big dreams in his heart. He wanted to become a musketeer, one of the brave soldiers who protected the King and Queen of France. D'Artagnan was a cheerful fellow with curly brown hair that bounced as he walked, and bright blue eyes that sparkled with excitement. He wore a simple green tunic and brown breeches, patched from his long journey, and carried a small sword that clinked at his side. Paris was a magical place. The streets bustled with life, merchants shouted about their colorful fabrics and shiny trinkets, children chased wooden hoops with sticks, and horses clopped along pulling fancy carriages. The air smelled of warm bread from the bakeries and sweet flowers from the market stalls. D'Artagnan's heart raced as he took it all in, dreaming of the adventures ahead. Suddenly, a loud commotion broke his thoughts. Up ahead, three men in dazzling musketeer uniforms, blue capes with golden crosses, stood surrounded by a group of grumbling guards in red. The musketeers were Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. Athos was tall and serious, with a scar on his cheek that told tales of battles past. Porthos was big and strong, with a booming laugh that echoed like thunder. Aramis was slim and charming, with dark hair and a twinkle in his eye that hinted at mischief. The guard's leader, a mean-looking man with a pointy beard, shouted, "You musketeers are troublemakers. Surrender, or we'll make you sorry." Athos drew his sword, its blade shining in the sunlight. "We fight for honor, not for bullies like you," he said boldly. D'Artagnan watched, amazed as the musketeers battled the guards. Swords clashed with a clang, and sparks flew like tiny stars. Porthos swung his blade with such force that a guard stumbled backward into a fruit cart, apples tumbling everywhere. Aramis danced around his opponent, quick and clever, while Athos moved like a lion, calm but fierce. Just then a guard spotted D'Artagnan. "Another musketeer brat," he sneered, charging with his sword raised. D'Artagnan didn't hesitate. He pulled out his own sword and blocked the attack with a swift whoosh, then spun and knocked the guard's weapon to the ground. The guard yelped and ran off, leaving D'Artagnan breathless but proud. The musketeers finished off the rest of the guards, who scattered like frightened mice. Athos approached D'Artagnan, wiping his sword clean. "Well fought, young one. What's your name?" "D'Artagnan, sir," he replied, standing tall. "I want to be a musketeer like you." Athos smiled, a rare sight. "You've got courage. Come with us, and let's see if you've got what it takes." And so D'Artagnan's grand adventure began. Chapter 2. The Stolen Locket. The musketeers led D'Artagnan to their favorite spot, a cozy tavern called the Jolly Musketeer. Inside, the air was warm with the scent of roasting meat and fresh bread. Wooden tables were scratched from years of stories, and a crackling fireplace cast a golden glow. The musketeers' friend Planchet, a round-faced servant with a big grin, brought them mugs of cider and plates of cheese. As they ate, a messenger slipped Athos a note. His face grew serious as he read it. "The Queen needs us," he said. "Her special locket, a gift from the king with his tiny portrait inside, has been stolen by the cardinal's men. She's afraid the king will think she doesn't love him anymore if it's lost." Porthos banged his mug on the table. "That sneaky cardinal. We'll get it back." "It's dangerous," Aramis warned, stroking his chin. "The cardinal's fortress is like a dragon's lair." D'Artagnan jumped up. "I'll help. We can do it together." Athos nodded. "Welcome to your first mission, D'Artagnan." While they planned, drawing maps on a napkin, D'Artagnan noticed a girl serving drinks. She had golden hair that glowed like sunshine and green eyes that danced with kindness. Her name was Constance, the tavern keeper's daughter. D'Artagnan felt his cheeks warm as he said, "Hello, I'm D'Artagnan." She smiled. "I'm Constance. Are you a musketeer?" "Soon, I hope," he said shyly. They talked about Paris and their favorite things. She loved daisies, and he loved horses, until Athos called him back. That night, the four friends set off under a starry sky. They wore dark cloaks, blending into the shadows as they crept toward the cardinal's fortress. It loomed ahead, a grim pile of gray stone with tall walls and guards pacing like hawks. Aramis spotted a tiny window high up, unguarded. Porthos hoisted them up one by one, grunting with effort, and they slipped inside. The fortress was cold and spooky, with flickering torches casting long shadows. They tiptoed through halls, hiding behind barrels when guards stomped by. At last, they reached the cardinal's chamber, a grand room with red curtains and a big desk. But the locket wasn't there. Footsteps echoed, and they ducked behind the curtains just as the cardinal swept in. He was tall and bony, with a red robe and a wicked grin. In his hand dangled the locket, its gold chain twinkling. "This will ruin the queen," he chuckled to his guards. "The king will never trust her again." D'Artagnan whispered, "We have to get it." "Patience," Athos hissed. The cardinal locked the locket in a small chest and left, leaving two guards behind. The musketeers sprang into action. Porthos leaped out, yelling, "Catch me, you slowpokes!" He ran off, the guards chasing him with confused shouts. Aramis and D'Artagnan grabbed the chest, and Athos led them to a secret tunnel, a damp, narrow path they'd found earlier. They escaped as alarms blared, racing back to the tavern. There they opened the chest and cheered at the sight of the locket. But their joy faded when Planchet burst in, panting. "Constance, she's been kidnapped by the cardinal's men." D'Artagnan's heart sank. "We'll save her," he vowed, and the musketeers agreed. Chapter 3. The Rescue Mission. The musketeers learned Constance was locked in a tower outside Paris. They galloped through the night on their horses, the wind whistling past. The tower stood alone in a field, its stones black against the moonlit sky, guarded by a dozen soldiers. With a battle cry, the musketeers charged. Swords clashed in a symphony of clangs and tings. D'Artagnan darted between two guards, his blade flashing as he knocked their swords away. Porthos roared, swinging his sword like a club, sending guards tumbling. Aramis twirled like a dancer, disarming foes with a grin, while Athos fought with steady, powerful strikes. The guards fell back, defeated, and the musketeers stormed the tower. Inside, it was dark and musty, with creaky stairs winding up. At the top, Constance sat in a tiny cell, her golden hair tangled. D'Artagnan smashed the lock with his sword, and she ran into his arms. "You're safe now," he said, hugging her tight. "Thanks to you," she whispered, smiling through tears. More guards thundered up the stairs, but the musketeers were ready. They fought their way out, swords blazing, and rode back to the tavern with Constance safe behind D'Artagnan. The next day, they took the locket to the Queen's palace, a dazzling place with marble floors, golden chandeliers, and walls painted with flowers. The Queen, in a flowing blue gown, beamed. "You've saved my love," she said, clasping the locket. The king gave them medals, and D'Artagnan officially became a musketeer. That night in the palace gardens, D'Artagnan and Constance sat among blooming roses. "You're my hero," she said, and they shared a soft, sweet kiss under the stars. Chapter 4. Training and Friendship. With the locket returned, the musketeers decided to train D'Artagnan. In the tavern's sunny courtyard, birds chirped as Athos taught him sword tricks, how to block high and strike low. "Honor is your strength," Athos said, his scar crinkling as he smiled. Porthos showed him how to use tables or trees in a fight. Be clever, he boomed, tossing D'Artagnan over a bench in a playful spar. Aramis shared battle plans, drawing in the dirt. Think ahead, he advised, winking. D'Artagnan practiced until he could match them, his sword singing through the air. They laughed and told stories. Porthos about a cow he wrestled, Aramis about a song he wrote. Constance often joined them, bringing lemonade and cookies, and she and D'Artagnan grew closer. They picnicked by the river, tossing crumbs to ducks, and danced at palace balls, spinning under glittering lights. But the cardinal wasn't done. His spies watched, and soon word came. He planned to attack a village for its grain. The musketeers rode out, rallying the villagers, farmers with pitchforks and bakers with rolling pins. They built barricades from carts and sacks, ready to fight. The cardinal's army arrived, but the musketeers led the charge. Swords flashed, dust flew, and after a long battle, they won. The villagers threw a feast, roast pork, apple pies, and songs around a bonfire. D'Artagnan and Constance danced, their laughter ringing out. Chapter 5. The Secret Hideout. Back in Paris, the musketeers showed D'Artagnan their secret hideout, a room under the tavern, hidden by a trapdoor beneath a rug. Candles lit a treasure trove, maps, swords, and trinkets from old quests. "This is our heart," Athos said. They swapped tales, Aramis about a tricky riddle, Porthos about a funny tumble. Then Planchet burst in. "The palace is under attack." They raced to the palace, finding the cardinal's guards at the gates. The battle was fierce. Swords sparked, sweat dripped, and D'Artagnan fought like a whirlwind. Together they pushed the guards back, saving the day. The king awarded them the Order of the Musketeer, golden medals with their motto, "All for one and one for all." At the tavern feast, D'Artagnan took Constance aside. "I love you," he said, nervous but sure. "Will you be mine?" "Yes," she said, and they kissed as the musketeers cheered. And so the four musketeers lived on, fighting for justice, love, and friendship, their adventures shining bright as their swords.